Hello everybody, welcome to Get Into Beauty. And here I'm going to educate you about all things beauty. Last week we talked a little bit about some makeup ideas and what clients love about getting their hair done. This time I'm going to talk about when it's time to get a trim. I know trims can be scary, but we're going to talk about when it's some actual signs that it's time to get a little bit trimmed off. And since I like to educate, what I'm going to start with is a myth buster. Yeah, some things that people think they know going around, but it's not really the truth. People say that if your hair's not growing, you should get a trim. No, that's not the case. What trimming does for hair growth is that it prevents the ends from breaking up. So therefore, the hair that's growing from the scalp can still remain on the head. Remember, hair grows from the scalp to the ends. So trimming it off will, yes, and essentially make it shorter. But if you're keeping those ends healthy as it's growing from the scalp, you'll continue to keep the length at the ends. Think of it as like trimming a bush. If you're trimming bushes and you want your hedges to be nice and even and healthy, you trim the outside of the ends. You don't want all of those sprouts sticking out. So that's an analogy for keeping your hair trimmed. Trimming the bush doesn't necessarily make the tree grow faster, no, but it does keep the ends healthy so that you grow out in a healthier look until you get a nice full bush. In that analogy, that bush is the hair. So hopefully that makes sense for you. And with that being said, now we're going to talk about the 5 signs that it's time for a trim. Sign number 1 that it's time for a trim is if your hair is shedding. Shedding is going to be like little pieces in the sink. If you're losing full strands of hair, you want to be concerned about the full long strands. But normally when the ends are breaking and you get tiny little pieces of hair, as you'll see in the images that I'll post on the side to give you a little side note, then you know it's time for a trim. That's sign number 1 that it's time for a trim. Sign number 2 that it's time for a trim. If your ends look frayed, like if they look like I discussed in that tree analogy earlier, if your ends look like it has all of these little pieces and it's very thin out at the bottom, you definitely want to get a trim, and that is normally a sign of damage. You want to keep your ends healthy so that you have all over healthier hair. You don't have to trim all of your dead ends at one time. That is a true statement. Rome wasn't built in a day. Healthy hair is not either. If you have unhealthy hair, you want to trim a little bit at a time. Give your hair some time to grow. Hair only grows about a ½ inch a month. So you want to give yourself maybe 2-3 months, maybe a good 1.5 inches of growth before you trim off another ½ inch. So that way you're encouraging healthy hair. You're not taking all of the hair off at one time, so you're not traumatized because your hair is shorter than what you would like it to be, and you're working towards your goal. Work in progress, people. Healthy hair takes time. Sign number 3 that it's time for a trim is if you have those little white balls on the end of your hair. I put it in an image here, but have you ever seen them, like you're looking at your ends and you're like, why? What are those? What are those? That is a little white, the analogy that I use to describe that is like callus. If you use too much pressure on your knuckles or even on your feet, you get a callus or a corn. You know, all of us young ladies know that from wearing the heels that be hurting your feet. Don't do that no more either. But anywho, what happens is the hair forms a little callus on the end to try to protect it from splitting. So you get these little white balls on the ends of your hair. You want to get those trimmed off. You want to make sure that you're keeping, again, a healthy hair, because it doesn't look good with those little, people can see that. You can see it, people can too, and they're everywhere. So keep those trimmed off. Again, they don't have to all be trimmed off at one time, but you definitely want to get those trimmed off because that makes your hair look healthy. And again, that's what we're about here at Get Into Beauty. Healthy hair, healthy beauty, healthy life. Sign number 4 that you need to trim is that if your hair is starting to tangle, if you're like going through it after you shampoo it and you just have all of these tremendous ends, what it could be is that those frayed ends, they intertwine around each other, so therefore it tangles more. So you want to be careful with that. If you have severely tangly hair, you might want to get those ends trimmed just to keep your hair from tangling around each other, and that way you'll be able to get through it a lot easier, and that will discourage you from combing it out, because tangled hair, when you're combing through and trying to brush through that tangled hair, it can make you cause your own breakage. You don't want self-inflicted breakage. So again, get those ends trimmed. The last reason that you might need a trim is if you have very long and thick hair. Do you get headaches very often? Sometimes having long, thick hair can cause you to get headaches because the hair is so heavy that it's pulling on your scalp, and it can cause you to get headaches. I've experienced that with a lot of my clients who have very, very long, thick hair. Once they get a trim, they're like, you know what? The headaches went right away. So maybe you might want to take that under consideration also. Thank you for watching Get Into Beauty. If there are any things that you think might be signs that need a trim, let me know. If there's anything that you want me to educate about, I'll also answer any questions. I'll take inquiries, but I'll continue to be posting things about beauty, about healthy hair, about healthy skin, anything that I possibly can to help everyone in the world enhance the beautiful that they already are. Shop Weave and Luxury if you like this luxurious hair extensions that I have in. They have awesome, beautiful hair. And thank you for watching our videos. We appreciate you. We'll be back again next week.